the one question that I get asked the most, and to those of you who have been with me for months and years, I'm so sorry. You've probably already heard this, but definitely over Christmas, I picked up a lot of new subscribers. And if you are new, welcome. I've had so much great feedback from you all, not just actually on the luxury and shopping videos, but loads of you who have gone, oh, you also do videos about money and about debt and about happiness and motivation. And I know a lot of you really like those as well. So I thought, seeing as you keep asking me, for everyone who's new, this is what I do for my money. This is how I earn my money. In social media, I swear, there is so much smoke and mirrors that goes on. It can be really difficult to know how are people actually earning their money. I think with social media, the thing that I don't like about it, and imagine I'm someone who does a bit of social media, but also I'm someone who absorbs it, I watch it, I digest it. And so I feel, weirdly, I've got one foot in each camp, where I understand that as a blogger, like particularly if you've got a channel that's about beauty or fashion or shopping, you guys want to see what's new out. So if I just come here all the time and I'm not talking about that and I'm showing the same stuff over and over, stuff that isn't even current anymore, then it wouldn't be a very good shopping channel, would it? But I also see the flip side of that, which is that for those of you who watch and all you see every time is new stuff after new stuff, you probably are thinking, wow, you must be living in like a hoarder's paradise. But not only that, you definitely start thinking, it starts to feel very materialistic, and you start thinking, what, like, where are you getting the money to buy all of this from? So I'm gonna tell you the truth about YouTube and social media. So as I said, my number one question is, where'd you get your money from? How does she have this lifestyle? How is she able to go and buy this stuff? I tell you what, nothing you say to me on social media will ever bother me. Like, just nothing does. I've heard it all. And I don't really care, actually. When it comes to like negative comments, unless they're constructive, like I didn't like this video because, if it's things like, I hate you, I don't really care. Like, it's never really bothered me. I don't know why. I don't know whether it should. But the one thing that really gets me so angry is when, and I know they're troll comments, and it's like, and this is a real thing, are you a prostitute? Do you have a sugar daddy? Gold digger? And all of the comments, I've got to say, they all come from men, and they tend to be, whenever I do a video that's got cars in it, I pick up people that haven't watched me before, and then I think they maybe get angry, or I don't know, they don't watch the full picture, so they just come to an assumption or whatever. And they're the comments that really, really make me so angry, because they're so misogynistic. It's like, why is it as a woman you've got to be a prostitute to earn money? It's a stupid thing to say. It's just a stupid thing to say. How I've come to be in the very fortunate position that I'm in my life is through working. I'm going to share some stuff with you here that if you are watching this and you're aspiring for more, and I don't mean that in a material way, please, you know, we live on Earth, we live in the West. Although spiritually we don't need money, in real life we do, because it pays for the stuff that you want, even food and paying for your gas bills. So actually, although we might try and pretend that money isn't important, it kind of is. So going all the way back, basically the way that I came to come into money was through working. I graduated from university. For any of you watching who are younger, one thing I just have to communicate to you is education is the most important thing. If you graduate, or if you don't even graduate, if you end up leaving school and you have no qualifications, and I'm not talking about the minority of people that become entrepreneurs and they absolutely smash it, I'm talking about, for the most part, if you come out of school with no qualifications, one day you will get to a point when you'll want the car and you'll want the house and you'll want a family, and you won't be able to pay for it. And in the UK, the minimum wage that you get paid per hour is so low that trying to live off that is not impossible, particularly if you live in the southeast, because the house prices around here are so much. And I just want to say, if you end up in a point where you don't have qualifications, trying to climb out of that trap of not working in places where you can only work because you're unskilled, I don't know, like Costa Coffee or Sainsbury's, it's very difficult to get out of that trap, and that trap can end up being miserable and depressing and frightening. And you know, when you get to that point where you think, God, like I'm stuck in this, and you're never stuck in it. It doesn't matter what age you are, it is never too late to go and get an education and to get qualified. And I also want to say, it is never too late to find out what it is that you want to do in life. My biggest anxiety when I was about 19 through to about 23, the anxiety that kept me up at night is I don't know what I want to do in life. I had a qualification in business and marketing, which I got because I felt, deep down I always had an interest in that sector. I knew nothing about it and what it was actually like to work in that sector, but I just knew I had an interest in it. So I got that degree because I thought, well, that's reasonably generic, and the stuff it taught me really helped me with the jobs that I got. So sorry to go off on a tangent. I just really want to communicate that because it's so important. So I made my money working my way up. I was very focused. I've always had this thing of, as a minimum, I set myself a target where I wanted to be earning at least, if not more, what my age was at the time. And it became like a game. So what I started doing is I got really, really hooked on my job because I loved what I did. By the time I got to my second job, I was doing something, I found my groove. I was like, wow, I was so excited to go to work on a Sunday evening because I got to see people that I enjoyed working with, and I was doing a job where I had great responsibility. I loved the clients I was working with. I just loved it. I used to stay there late in the evenings just because I loved it there. And that, I think when you really enjoy what you're doing, it's easier to work your way up because it's almost like a carrot as opposed to a stick. So that's really what I did. I carried on working my way up, and I would set myself a target each year. I'd be like, right, by the end of the year, I want to be earning this much money, either by having got a bonus or by having requested a pay rise. One thing you need to do when you're doing this, be really mindful of within your industry and within your job title, make sure you go and look at the ceiling salary for someone doing what you're doing. I've spoken about this before. I got to director by the time I was 26. You gotta realize here, I have no dependents. At this point, I was making a massive dent in my debt from university. I mean, I had like £40,000 worth of debt at one point, and all of the money I was earning was literally, I was just trying to kill off that debt because the amount of money that I was having to spend each month on paying off all different credit cards and interest was huge. So by the time I got to a point where I paid off all of the debt, I've got money to burn. Like, I was in a very fortunate situation because my overheads were like, I had my phone bill, I had like some insurances, what else did I have? I think that was about it, you know? And all the rest of the money that I was paid was mine to do what I wanted with. And that was, I always get loads of you asking me going, how did you have a Porsche when you were 26? That was the reason why. Because I could afford to do it, and how thankful I was. I remember, still got pictures of that first car, and I was literally thinking, this isn't my life. Like, this doesn't even feel like my life. But at the same time, I felt really proud about the fact that I'd actually done it. It felt so weird. Then I got up to 2015, and that is where I had reached as high as I could in the places I was working in. The other option that I had was, in order to go higher, I needed to leave the place where I was at the time, and I thought I either go to a bigger agency where I'm a smaller fish in a bigger pond and there's further movement up, or I start doing my own thing. Now, at the time, I was already doing some work on the side. It was kind of like moonlighting, if you like. and I have loads of you asking me this as well, like how do you do it? What I did 2 years before I quit my job, 2 years before I even thought I was gonna quit my job actually, I started doing like a little bit of work on the side that was still in relation to what I was doing in my day job, but I was working with brands that were small brands that couldn't afford to go to an agency, so they would go to someone who was like a freelancer, which is what I was doing. And then by the time 2 years came, so I'm in this position where I'm like, can't get any senior. Also, I was really running out of time to actually get the other work that I was doing done. I was doing it on weekends, I was doing it on evenings. It was growing, and it was at a point where I couldn't carry on with the day job and with that. So I quit the day job and I started focusing on that, and then from there it grew, and it's grown to what it is today. And I could grow it further by taking on staff, but I don't want to do that. I'm happy with the level that it's at, because I don't want to start, as soon as you start dealing with the staff, it's just like a nightmare. I just don't really want to get to that. I'm not saying that I won't, I might do it eventually, but right now, combined with doing a bit of YouTube, it is at a really nice level. So the way that I have come into money is one of you asked me if I lived on an oil mine or something, an oil rig. There's nothing like that, there's no conspiracies. And I totally get it, because in social media it's smoke and mirrors, and no one's really, I don't know why we feel like they should have to tell us about their financial affairs, but people aren't going to sit there and say, well, I earned this much off YouTube and I inherited this much, or I work and got, no one's going to do that. And at the same time, I don't feel like they have to, but I choose to talk about it because when you watch, I would hate for anyone to watch and feel rubbish about themselves, inadequate, or how is it you can go and get all that and I can't. But also, from an ethical point of view, I don't want people watching and feeling like they've got to go and get into debt to keep up with what I'm showing. And I'm always very mindful of that, because I've been through the debt thing. It's a horrible trap once you get in it. It's a slippery old slope. And I want this to be a place where it's a bit frivolous, you can come and watch and you can come and enjoy, but at the same time, there's some actual life helpful stuff in there. I hope. Anyway, I think that's it really. I also make a bit of money off YouTube. I know people that are earning massive money out of it, and you can, but it's very difficult too. I very much do it as a hobby because it's a bit of escapism for me, and because I don't know what, I just really like doing it actually. I like talking and just talking to people, and I also like the relationships that I've cultivated with a lot of you. But if I was in it for the money, I wouldn't be doing it at all. The fact that you buy stuff to go in videos, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if I didn't do YouTube, I wouldn't buy half the stuff that I buy. I do it because YouTube is an enabler. It's like if I go out and I see a pair of shoes or a bag or like a jacket or something, because I do YouTube, it's like, oh, well, that would be good content. And it's true, it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have anything to talk to you about. But anyway, that really is it in a nutshell. I hope that this has answered questions, and for those of you who are new, I hope that this has been of interest. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.